England 1964. Milk bottles on doorsteps before dawn. 2 or 3 television channels. Children outside all day unsupervised. We're counting down 7 defining parts of 1960s British childhood that vanished, from street traders and deadly fog to penny sweets, and a day the whole country kept quiet. It begins at number 7, with a silent image staring back from every television set in Britain. Number 7, the BBC test card was the silent companion of every British living room, quietly presiding over the long hours when television simply switched off. First broadcast on 2 July 1967, the image showed 8-year-old Carol Hersey, daughter of BBC engineer George Hersey, playing noughts and crosses with a red-haired clown doll named Bubbles, a scene carefully constructed to help engineers calibrate the new colour service. For children, it was both a puzzle and a comfort. A static picture surrounded by colour bars and geometric grids, filling the screen whenever the day's programmes had ended. Over the next 3 decades, Carol's face appeared for an estimated 70,000 hours, making her the most aired person in British television history. In an age before 24-hour broadcasting, the test card was a reminder that even technology needed to rest. Today, the idea of a channel going silent overnight seems as distant as the chalkboard in her hands. Number 6. The rag and bone man was once a fixture of Britain's working-class streets, his cry of "any old iron" drifting through open windows on quiet afternoons. These itinerant collectors moved from house to house with a horse-drawn cart, buying up rags, bones, scrap metal, and paper, anything that could be reused or sold on for a few pence. For many families, he offered a way to turn yesterday's rubbish into a little pocket money, and for the collector, it was a hard-earned living, often yielding just £5 or £8 a week. The arrival of the Waste Disposal Act in 1965 marked the beginning of the end, shifting responsibility for household waste to local councils and leaving less for the old scavengers to collect. Yet the image endured, immortalised by Steptoe and Son when the sitcom launched in 1962, turning the rag and bone man into a reluctant national mascot for the age of reuse. Today, the idea of a man bartering for bones at the door seems almost as distant as coal fires and outside loos, a reminder that recycling once meant a knock and a shout from the street below. Number 5. The Great Smog lingers as a chilling reminder that even the air itself could turn against you. In December 1952, a dense yellow-black fog settled over London, so thick that visibility sometimes dropped to less than 50 metres. People described it as air you could taste, coal smoke and sulphur clinging to coats, hair and lungs. The official death toll reached at least 4,000, but later studies suggest the true number may have been as high as 12,000, with tens of thousands more falling ill. The Clean Air Act of 1956 tried to draw a line under the disaster, but for years afterwards, winter smogs remained a feature of British life, especially in cities where coal fires still burned in every hearth. Children learned to navigate a world where the horizon vanished and bus conductors walked ahead with lanterns. Today, the idea that a simple winter fog could bring a city to its knees and fill hospital wards overnight feels as foreign as the taste of soot on the tongue. The Great Smog stands as proof that ordinary weather, mixed with ordinary habits, could become a national emergency almost overnight. Number 4. The school tuck shop was the beating heart of playground commerce, where a handful of coins unlocked a world of small, sugary pleasures. Spangles, blackjacks, fruit salads, and flying saucers lined the counter, each sweet promising a moment of independence for the price of a single penny. With a 6pence allowance, a child could feel like a minor tycoon, buying, bartering, and swapping in a 15-minute flurry before the bell called everyone back to lessons. The tuck shop was more than a place to buy sweets. It was a micro-economy, a lesson in negotiation, and a daily ritual that made break time feel like a festival. As health and safety rules tightened in the 1970s and 1990s, these counters faded, replaced by sterile vending machines and nutrition guidelines. Today, the idea of a child spending pocket money on penny sweets at a school-run stall seems as distant as the taste of a spangle, bright, fleeting, and gone before you know it. Number 3. The Green Cross Code. Man marched straight into the collective memory of British childhood, cape and all. In an era when crossing the road could be a daily gamble, Dave Prowse, best known later as Darth Vader, became the face of survival for a generation. Starting in 1971, he fronted the Green Cross Code campaign, appearing on posters, television, and in school halls, always repeating the mantra, "Stop, look, listen, and think." This was not a gentle suggestion, but a lifeline, born from the grim reality that in the early 1960s, child pedestrian deaths were 4 times higher than today. The worst year, 1972, saw over 700 children killed on British roads. Prowse, a former bodybuilder, was chosen as the superhero children might listen to, a figure who could bench press a traffic cone and still have time to remind you to check both ways. The campaign replaced the old curb drill with something children could actually remember and perhaps survive by. The later seatbelt law of 1983 only underlined the shift. Personal freedom, yes, but not at the expense of a child's safety. Today, the Green Cross Code man stands as proof that sometimes the most heroic thing you can do is simply teach a child to pause before stepping out. Number 2. Sunday Using drew a line under the British Week, enforced by law and felt in every high street and home. The Shops Act of 1950 made Sunday a protected day of rest, shutting most shops and leaving towns eerily quiet, save for the sound of church bells or the occasional Sunday roast sizzling behind drawn curtains. For decades, this pause was not just tradition, but statute, a shared national rhythm that slowed the world to a crawl once a week. In 1986, the Shops Bill tried to sweep away these restrictions, but was defeated by just 14 votes, a rare moment when Parliament sided with the old order. The compromise held until 1994, when the Sunday Trading Act finally allowed shops to open for a limited 6-hour window, but by then the spell was broken. The memory of deserted streets, empty shop windows, and families gathering at home now lingers as a relic of a time when even commerce was told to take a breath. Today, the notion of an entire country pressing pause for a single day feels as remote as ration books or milk delivered at dawn, a reminder that the week itself once had a boundary everyone could feel. And finally, in first place, the certainty of things. In the 1960s, British life ran on a timetable you could trust. The postman arrived twice a day, sorting letters into neat piles before most families had finished their second cup of tea. This routine held for generations, only ending with the 2004 Royal Mail Review, which quietly trimmed the nation's daily rhythm to a single delivery. The milkman, too, was a fixture, his float humming along the street before sunrise. Glass bottles clinking onto doorsteps with a reliability that made breakfast feel like a promise kept. Weekly visits from the binman, the library van, or even the coal merchant gave each household a sense of order, as if the world itself was on your side when you remembered to put the empties out. Even the day itself had a proper finish. The BBC would sign off with the national anthem, the screen fading to the test card or a gentle hiss of static. It was a signal that the day was done, that everyone, machines included, deserved a rest. These scheduled moments stitched together a kind of quiet certainty. Life would arrive when it was supposed to, and end when the clock said so. Now the old routines have been swept aside by on-demand everything. Milk comes from the supermarket, letters from a courier you've never met, and the day ends when your phone finally runs out of charge. The real loss is not a single object or ritual, but the steady pulse of a world that ran on time. A certainty children once took for granted, now vanished into the blur of endless choice. Across all 7 relics, one truth lingers. Certainty was the quiet backbone of 1960s British life. Even as routines vanished and the world sped up, that longing for reliability endures. In a country built on queues and tea, perhaps we miss knowing exactly when the milk would arrive. Cheers for watching.